This past week, the floodgates opened, bringing us a ton more quality of life changes. Somebody get this dog off me! Anyway, there's a pretty cool feature coming soon where you'll be able to see the building block zones around monuments. These zones will only be visible when holding a building plan in your hands or something like a furnace that is also technically a building plan. These will, however, not be visible around roads or train tracks. This will prevent players from accidentally building too close to monuments and ruining their base designs, and will also inform you on where to place your bags at. In addition to this, these zones have been reduced around the Arctic Research Base and the military base, as well as the lighthouse, mining outpost, supermarket, gas station, and warehouse having their zones increased. At the end of the wipe, there are jets that spawn above you and fly around, and the volume of these has been reduced by 45%. The sound effect of placing a water pump has been changed, as well as now being able to place it within a triangle foundation. Wire slacking is working pretty good on staging right now, and we might be seeing it in-game soon. The ability to do this with the deluxe Christmas lights is also being worked on. You will no longer be able to store sulfur ore, sulfur, gunpowder, explosives, diesel, cameras, or laptops inside of a TC. A new input mode has been added to the SAM site to toggle the defender mode with electricity. This now gives electricians the ability to do some cool circuits instead of just completely disabling the power to their SAM site when they're flying into their base. As somebody who likes efficiency, this next change is voila. Each workbench will now have access to all tiers below it, meaning you only need one workbench out at a time to access all of the tech trees. You would need to have all 3 workbenches deployed and taking up space in your base before if you wanted access to all 3 of the tech trees, and now only needing one of them, you'll be able to use your other 2 workbenches somewhere else or sell them in a vending machine. On top of this, the window bars, the reinforced glass window, and the window shutters have had their crafting timers reduced from 30 seconds to 15 seconds. While holding shift with a clone or a seed in your hand, you will fill all of the slots in a planter box. And a deeper meaning has been given to bones. You can now throw them in a composter and they will produce fertilizer at a rate of 4 bones to 1 fertilizer. The item split slider will no longer reset when splitting specific numbers out of a stack, and will still reset when you drag an item back onto the stack. The demolish and rotate options within the hammer wheel will now permanently be there, but will just be grayed out when you're not able to use them to reduce the amount of misclicks that occur during building. You will now be able to see the name of the item that you place in a repair bench, including the skin or DLC that it is, and then below the item itself is a button that you can click which will open the location that you can purchase this skin or DLC from. Now after you're done raiding somebody, you can make it a new tradition to go see what all their skins are in your repair bench. Speaking of skins, the skins will appear on grenades after they've been thrown now. I don't own any skins to show you. Sorry. If you're holding a building plan or an item that is considered one like a seed or a box and you're in a team, you will be able to see what your team is building. This is going to make explaining things to your teammates so much easier while building your base, and will also allow experienced builders synergy to increase exponentially. In regards to the barricades inside monuments that we've been talking about for a few weeks now, it is still on the Ox 2 staging branch and has been reduced to the terrain inside monuments and is no longer placeable on anything else besides the terrain. Solar panels will no longer take damage when you pick them up, which didn't really make sense before considering that the durability of them is tied to the electrical output. The seismic sensor is finally in and we've been able to take a look at it. There are 2 lights on the top, which one will turn green when it's powered and the other will flicker red until it detects an explosion, and then it will turn green. And by using our new handy dandy wire slacking, we could power up this bad boy. You can interact with the sensor to change the range from 1 meter to 30 meters. And now that we have a full understanding of what the seismic sensor is for, we understand that we could connect it to a smart alarm and pair that with our Rust Plus device to alert us if our base is being raided while we're offline. And obviously there's some other cool things that you can do with this. The output power is based on the tier of explosive used, and this will be a tier 2 item located beneath the storage monitor in the tech tree, costing 3 HQM and 1 tech trash at the time of making this video. And also I really like what they put for the description of this item. The changes that are happening to the electrical furnaces are in. The only node available on the electrical furnace now is the power in, which will also turn it on. This will solve a couple of issues that we've had in the past with electrical furnaces, and there is no pass-through on furnaces, so it will still require extra components to power an array. Tesla coils and igniters are now infinitely better than they used to be since they don't break at low durability, and on top of that, they will also automatically heal themselves over time within building privilege. Approximately 8 HP after each decay tick of 10 minutes. If you didn't notice from the beginning of the video, you can walk backwards on horses now, and the speed penalty associated with wearing horse armor has been reduced. Minicopters will now apply a handbrake when there is nobody driving them so that they will no longer slide down a hill. And the ability to hold control and drive scrap helicopters on the ground has been brought back, but it's a little bumpy. Hopefully this will be fixed before release, as well as the speedometer inside of the scrap helicopter actually showing you the speed that you're moving at, which is pretty cool. I like this feature a lot. There was an issue for a while with oil rigs pretty much only spawning on the top side of the map, and this has now been adjusted to where hopefully we'll see them on the bottom a little bit more often. There's been quite a few updates to painting. The UI now scales with the slider bar in your settings, and if you set it smaller, it will be smaller, and if you set it bigger, it will be big. Some issues with the soft brushes have been fixed. Paintbrush sizes less than 2 will no longer have gaps. The max brush size has been increased to 100. When using a brush with a low opacity, it will no longer overlap itself within the same stroke. Quick and long strokes will no longer cause a frame rate lag. And by using paint.left-sided in the F1 console, you can now set it to true or false to switch it between the left and the right side of your screen. There's basically a complete overhaul coming to the fishing mechanic in the game, and we'll start off with the fish trap. Sharks now require 5.5 meters to catch, and fish traps can now catch any type of fish and are considered to be 5 meters, meaning that they can catch anything besides sharks. The fish trap has a 50% chance of failing and the bait is still consumed, but the trap will remain active. You will also not be able to catch the same thing as the bait you are using, for example a catfish to catch a catfish. Anchovies, herrings, and sardines bait value is now 2 and can be used in stacks of 2 to reach a 4 bait value. Small trout and yellow perch bait value is now 5 and can be used in stacks of 2 to reach a 10 bait value. The catfish, small shark, salmon, and orange roofie are now a 10 bait value and limited to 1 stack. And the bait value associated with the raw fish meat has now been reduced to 0, meaning you can no longer infinitely fish by gutting the fish you catch. You must use the smaller fish to catch the bigger fish, and makes the bigger fish harder to catch. The new stack sizes, if you're confused about that, means that 2 of these fish will be consumed because their stack size is 2, and this will add up to a 10 bait value, meaning that you can use 2 of these small trouts to catch a small shark if you're in the ocean. The same logic applies to the fish traps as well. And here you can see that worms and grubs are now more valuable to hang on to. Worms have a bait value of 3 and grubs have a bait value of 4, and they can both be stacked up to 3 times now, meaning you can catch things like small sharks with 3 grubs. And the bait value of berries has been increased from 0.5 to 1, and you can stack them in 5s. Raw human meat has been increased from 1 bait value to 3, and wolf meat and bear meat has been increased from 5 to 10. All types of meat do not stack, and remember that the raw fish no longer has a bait value at all. And that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these quality of life changes, and on screen right now is a link to the previous update videos if you haven't seen those already, as well as a link in the description. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, leave a dislike if you didn't, and I'll catch you in the next one.